All right, so I was talking to my brother's friend yesterday, and I was dropping him off at the airport, and he was telling me like, man, like, I was just thinking the other day, like, how are you now? You're in America, but you living like you, you living like you're a proper American type of thing, like lifestyle, whatever. And I'm not saying this to like brag or anything. I'm just saying this to kind of like, because it made me realize like what most people make the mistake of doing. One thing about moving to a new country, it gives you the opportunity to like reinvent yourself. And what do I mean by reinventing yourself? Reinventing yourself means, let's say you are at somewhere else, maybe you've been there for a long time, and people know you for a certain reputation. When you move to somewhere else, reinventing yourself means you can create now a different identity, a different reputation. It almost gives you a new chance to start over and make something different about yourself. Create a brand that's different compared to what people are used to. Now, why do I say this? Because one of the biggest things that, if I was to wish that someone told me, luckily I did it, without knowing, but I would have got assurance if someone told me like, hey, when you're now moving to America or you're moving to another country, you have the chance to reinvent yourself. So you can literally take away some of the things that, like basically it's like you have a clean plate and you can choose what you put on that plate now. And the thing is that most people do is that they take all those limitations with them. They take all the bad stuff with them. Like I'm saying, you can keep some, like if you were known where you were from as being someone who's always late, you don't have to keep that. You can change that. If you are known as someone who was, the last person in class, you can change that. If you're known for that person that people would never like go and ask for advice, you can change that. And it's all up to you. And the reason why it's very important is because if you move into somewhere else and you're looking to get your life better, especially if you're moving to somewhere where there's a lot of opportunity, you need to adapt. One of the biggest strengths that you can have for yourself is adaptability. And what does adaptability mean? Mean that you get to somewhere else and you can customize yourself to now being in that environment as if in the best, and performing or producing the best version of yourself in that environment, to the point where people forget where you're from. And this starts with as low as the people you surround yourself with. If I move to another country, I want to go there and learn their language. The reason why is because I want to adapt. So if I learn their language, I learn their way of living, and then I could now choose to do something different. But before doing something different, you want to learn first what they're doing. Even in any job that you go to, one of the biggest things you need to learn is before you start bringing your own ideas, you need to work first how their ideas work. And once their ideas seem to do stuff, then you can figure out where you can add some of the things you want to add. Now, where am I going with this? I'm going with this video to try and explain to people, someone who's watching this video, about how do you actually reinvent yourself, right? Now I'm gonna go to my board here real quick. I like to write these things down, especially because nowadays people don't take notes anymore. So I'll just help you by taking something that you can take a picture of. So the first thing you gotta do to reinvent yourself, the first thing, now invent, what does that come from? The word inventory. So one of the things you need to do, you need to sit down and take an inventory of what are the things you're good at. Take a big inventory. And this is one of the most fun exercises to do. I like to do this every time, especially when you feel down or you feel like you're not going, you're not sure where you're trying to go, you want to reset. you always want to take an inventory. And make sure you take an inventory on two things. The first thing is your strengths. The second thing is your weakness. And once you take an inventory of these things, you can realize where do you want to make any tweaks. Now, what I would suggest too, once you take an inventory of your strength, find something that would focus on your strength. Don't look for stuff that is focused on your weakness. Focus on your strength. Then with your weakness, you just gradually look for ways to get better. I'm going to give you an example. When I first came, I did an inventory of myself and I was like, well, I'm good at learning new languages. I'm good at making friends, talking to people. But what am I not good at? I was very shy. Right? I did not like looking at a camera. Right now I'm talking to you on a camera. This was not my strength. And even now, it's something that I'm still working on. And that's why now I'm doing like one video a week or something for YouTube. Because it's something that I want to get better at. But I also know at the same time, I'm not gonna put myself down by saying that I'm not good at this thing, because I'm just gonna work on it and get better and better and better and better. And one day people are not gonna believe that I was a person that used to be scared of the camera. What's another thing I was not good at? Was maybe socializing with people. When I get into situations where there's a lot of people, I normally get quiet. But that's the thing, that doesn't have to be you forever. At the end of the day, we only get a chance to live this life once. And if you're gonna live once, like, nothing's permanent. Even the house you live in, the car you have, the family you have. Sadly, everybody's gonna pass away. So at the end of the day, you don't have anything that's permanent. So if it's not permanent, why not make the most out of it? Right? So the first thing you gotta do is take inventory. Take inventory of your strength, take inventory of your weakness, and then with your weakness, instead of thinking like, oh, this is my weakness, think of it like, how can I get better at this? One of the things that we most of the time make a mistake on is we tell ourselves the wrong things. If you look at a statement that you're making that's not helping you, is to make that, for you to be able to improve on that thing that you're looking to, that most of the time you always said that you can never improve to, is to ask yourself better questions. How do you ask yourself better questions? By changing the frame. There's something interesting that I learned. So what's a frame? Frame is the container that we use to focus on something. If we have a picture inside here, the reason why we see the picture inside of it is because we have a frame on the outside. So how do you, if you are not focused, if you don't have a frame, then you would never focus on what's inside of it. So what does that mean? If you want to improve on something, you have to look at what frame do you currently have and then change that frame. When you reframe it, you'll be surprised how many things you would do. Like an example, if you are like, I'm not making enough money, and you can say, man, like, and I hear this a lot, it's different in my country, or it's different where I'm from, or people from where I'm from never like succeed in this thing right here. That's a frame that you choose to focus on that. But if you change that frame, you'll be surprised how different your results will look like. So if you change your frame of how you're gonna focus on this thing, you'll be surprised how you would achieve something else. Why is that? Because people do things for one reason only. Everyone in this world is doing whatever they're doing because of one reason only. And what is that? Because they feel like it. The reason why someone else wakes up in the morning to go work out and someone else doesn't is because that person that does feels like working out more than sleeping. He feels like, I want to wake up early to go work out. And then the feeling of doing that is way more than the feeling of sleeping in. The reason why someone else works and whatever and someone else doesn't want to work is because someone else doesn't feel like it. So what does that mean? So then if you look at what are the major feelings that give you energy to do something, you can now choose to focus on that, hone in on that, and then make yourself feel like doing something more. So what does that mean? So there's two type of feelings that you can have. You have anticipation and anxiety. These are both feelings. One of them is created by you expecting something that you really want to happen. The other one is created by you expecting something that you don't want to happen. But here's the thing. If you're anticipating something, you'd have a lot of energy because you can't wait for it to happen. I remember as a kid, I'll go to a game in Money City, and you're like, man, like I can't wait to get there because I want to see all these video games that are up there. And when I'm there, I'm like so happy because I want to just run to the video game section. But then, when you have anxiety, this causes us to waste present energy. This causes us to waste present energy worrying about something that didn't happen yet. What does that mean? Let's say you didn't do your homework. I remember back in my days in school, I think it's still part of the way they do it in my country. I'm not sure about America. If you didn't do a homework or if you didn't do something, you get in trouble. And by trouble, you get beat. And literally, let's say I didn't do my homework, and I know the lesson is going to be at 11, and I know the teacher is going to come in and check my book. I am like literally shaking, not doing anything. I won't even try to do the homework or whatever. Sometimes I might, but still I'll be shaking because I'm like, man, I don't want this lesson to happen because I know I'm going to get beat. So what is anxiety? Anxiety is you wasting present time, present energy, hoping something doesn't happen. And basically what happens is that it ends up happening because you don't have any, you take all the energy you have to do that thing and stop, so that, and then which eventually makes it happen. So now, and hear this, anxiety and fear are two different things. Because fear is actually that feeling when you have when it's actually something that's going to happen. If you see a snake, you're scared. Even if that snake didn't bite you yet. But that's actually a real fear because that can, it can kill you. But then if you have, I don't know, exams that you're going to do and you're afraid of, you're not afraid of failing, you just have anxiety towards failing. So if you have anxiety towards failing, what's going to happen is you're going to waste your time and energy just worrying about the exam and not doing anything. But if you knew 100%, if someone told you, hey, when you take that exam, you're going to pass with A's and everything, you're never going to have that, you can't wait till you do the exam. I remember for me, I used to be a math nerd. So every time we had a math exam, I was like super excited because I'm like, I want to see how fast I'll finish the exam and how much I'll get. But if it was an exam for, I don't know, civics or English, Swahili, I was like, man, I do not want to do this. So it's like, now how do you make, because at the end of the day, what I realized is, and I've seen it, I realized this because it's not a new concept, is that as humans, we have a superpower. And our superpower is anticipation. If you can figure out a way to make yourself anticipate things, you'll be surprised how many things you can do. And this requires, I want to say, strong mental capabilities. Because for you to be able to do this consistently, it needs you to be strong mentally. And how do you become strong mentally? It's like a muscle. You have to surround yourself with people who are energizing you with anticipation. You have to make sure you're listening to things that are making sure that you're strong, you're anticipating good things about your life. If you're around people that are condescending and telling you always focus on what you're not good at, then all you're gonna do is just build up a lot of anxiety. If you're surrounded with people telling you like, man, you can't do this here. This is something we don't do. And you just surround yourself with people like that, good luck. Because you're not gonna do anything because you're gonna just fester anxiety the whole time. So with anticipation, if we figure out a way, first one of the things you gotta do is surround yourself with people that are always focus on good things. And sometimes here and there, maybe mix it up. constructive criticism, they call it. It's like it's something that you're getting good at, someone tells you. And this starts with the partner that you choose for your life. If you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, or a husband or wife who is focused on your negative stuff, I don't know. I just don't think it'll work. I could be wrong. Anyways, so that's let me get back to reinventing yourself. So when you want to adapt, one thing you should also do, and this is one of the biggest mistakes I see, because you will see people move to a different country, then they stick with people that maybe they used to stay with back in the country, or people who lived from the country they lived in before, or where they're from, and then you just find that person being the same person, years going on, still having like there's nothing different. If you just took him and put him back to where he was from, he would just fit in right in. Why? Because they didn't adapt. Because adapting means you actually going there and mixing yourself into things that you never did before. I challenge you to do that. Challenge you to go to a different area, or if you already are, go there and then step out of your comfort zone. One of the things, I think it was a saying I've heard, where we say, comfort is where dreams go to die. So what you do, it's gonna be uncomfortable first, but then later, you're gonna become a whole new person. Because now when you come back to where you're from, people are like, man, there's something different about you. And they can't grasp it. And then also, you get a chance to see things from the outside. You will come and apply things and do things that people will be like, man, I was here this whole time, but I never saw it. There's a book called The Alchemist. It's a really good book. I recommend you to read it, especially for people who like fiction. Because I don't like fiction too much, but it's a fictionist book that actually has some really good teaching. One of the things I learned from that book was about, it was basically a kid who had a dream about seeing gold somewhere, and then it was by the pyramids. So somebody told him that means he got to go to Egypt. And he left his comfort zone, left what he was doing as a shepherd, and traveled to Egypt. A lot of things happened during the way. Maybe once, a couple times in his journey, he forgot why he left, and almost just never pursued the dream that he had, and then later continued to dream all the way to find out to Egypt, just to find out that the gold was right where he was. And he went back and found it. And that taught me a lot, because it said, most of the time, you know what, not even most of the time, I believe that nobody lacks abundance. People just lack the awareness to the abundance. So if you see that there's something that you're not getting, is because of where are you focused on? What is something that you're not aware of? The difference between me and you, the difference between you and someone else that maybe is doing good about something, is because they're aware of something that you're not. Sometimes you might find actually people are both aware about what you're not. It's just that they choose to look at it on a different frame. And just by them looking at a different frame, they create anticipation. While you focus on negatives, then you have anxiety. Then what happens, you just stay the same way you are. And this is another thing too. Before I go, this is the last thing I'm going to say. The only thing that's constant in your life, there's no such thing as just staying the same. It's either up or down. There's always two sides of everything. If you're not going up, you're going down. If it's heads, it's tails. There's always two sides of anything. So that means it's either you're improving or you're not. And it's crazy because it doesn't take any effort for you to disintegrate, but it takes effort for you to get better. So if you're not doing any of those and you're thinking like, I'm just going to stay the same, there's no such thing, because eventually it's going to go down. It's just how it is. So now it's up to you to choose what you're going to do with it. I hope this video helps you, and I'll see you in the next one.